right, welcome back to the second episode of ESPN Honolulu's Shakas and Swings. I'm your host, Hunter Hughes, and we record this today, Friday, August 12th, 2022. And special thanks to everyone who showed some love to our first episode, and of course our guest, Roman De Peralta, aka Kolohe Kai. Such a great time playing golf with him. Great interview. If you haven't got a chance to check that out yet, go over to ESPN Honolulu's YouTube page, or check us out over on social media. A lot of great reels, segments from that interview. Just a great time all around. Talking a little golf, a little music, a little this, a little that. Great way to get the show kicked off. But just going to be me today on the show. It's still going to be a lot of fun tackling the world of golf and everything in that here in Hawaii. Actually on the road, kind of our teeing off segment now. I'm over in Tulsa, Oklahoma right now. I'm actually on a golf trip here with my family. Great time always being on the links with my dad and my two brothers. Kind of my ideal foursome, if you will. And it kind of makes me wonder, for those listening at home, who is your dream foursome? It's kind of a fun question to ask. I asked Roman this last week as well. If you had a choice of four people that you would prefer to play golf with more than anybody else, who would your four be? If I had a celebrity one to choose, I would probably put Tiger in there, potentially Jack Nicklaus, and then maybe another athlete from another sport. Derek Jeter would probably be up there for me. And then if one of those guys couldn't make it, my dad's in there as well, and that would make up our four. But yeah, obviously, if those guys can't make it, I'll settle for the Hughes foursome. My dad, my brother Tanner, and my brother Tucker. Those guys are in my foursome. But let us know in the comments below who is in your dream foursome. I can remember a time when the four of us were playing over in Kona, actually. Used to be Big Island Country Club, now known as Makani Golf Club. And there was this one time where I think we were on maybe the 13th hole, and if you haven't played Makani Golf Club, it's kind of situated on the side of the mountain over there in Kona, up on the mountainside. And my dad and brother got out of their golf cart and left it in neutral. And whenever that happened, the cart just kind of took off down the hill. And my dad looked over at me and said, "Hunter, get it." And so without thinking, I took off running. After this golf cart. I'm heading down the hill. I don't know what's happening. I finally catch up to this golf cart right at the cusp of it going into a ravine and ultimately a river down there. Slam on the brakes. I'm able to skid it off to the side and kind of drift it to a stop. And by the time I look up, my dad and my two brothers are on the floor absolutely laughing hysterically because I was willing to put my life at risk trying to stop this golf cart from tumbling into the ravine. Anyway, that's a great story as we kind of get warmed up here on this second episode of Shakas and Swings. But yeah, I'm looking forward to a great golf trip this coming week. On the docket, we're looking to play the Patriot Golf Course. Definitely going to be playing Oak Tree National, which has been site of some previous U.S. Amateur events, as well as a PGA Championship in the late 90s. Going to be playing Forest Ridge. My brother Tanner Hughes is the director of golf instruction over there. We might sneak an interview with him as well this coming week for a future episode. And of course, we are going to be playing Southern Hills this trip, which I am so excited about. Southern Hills, of course, being the site of the 2022 PGA Championship. We've got a special guest in store for you guys with the Caddy Master from Southern Hills. All kinds of great stories and kind of recollecting famous caddies and players who have come through Southern Hills. Such a historic golf venue, and that one's going to be a really fantastic interview. So stick around for that one. But as we kind of get all set here for of what the PGA Tour has in store for us. We're actually in the FedEx Cup now, guys. The FedEx Cup is kind of at its first event now with the FedEx St. Jude Championship in Memphis, Tennessee. And the leaderboard as of right now is, let's see here. So starting off, we have JJ Spawn at 11 under par. Sepp Straka, say that name 5 times fast. He's at 10 under along with Troy Merritt. Denny McCarthy at 9 under. Brian Harmon, my fellow lefty, at 8, as well as the red hot Tony Finau and Cameron Smith also at 8 under par, who reportedly is also set to join the infamous Live Tour. We'll talk a little bit more about that after the break here, but as well as kind of dive into what the FedEx Cup is, how it's kind of played. But we're kind of making the turn here in this second episode of Shakas and Swings, and so we will see you guys in the second half as we wrap up the second episode. And we're back, and we're making the turn here with the second episode of Shakas and Swings, a Hawaii golf podcast. And we're teeing off on number 10 with what exactly is the FedEx Cup and how does it exactly work? And so the FedEx Cup is basically the equivalent of the golf world's version of the WSL or the World Surfing League. So every time there's a golf tournament, players acquire points depending on how they played in the last week's tournament. And I believe a winner of a regular PGA Tour event receives 500 FedEx Cup points. The winner of a major gets 600 FedEx Cup points. And the winner of a World Golf Classic, or you'll see the abbreviation WGC event, the winner of one of those gets 550. So 500 for a regular event, 550 for a WGC, or 600 for a major championship. And for those wondering, the Players' Championship is considered one of those WGCs. Many consider it the 5th major. And so that's kind of what you get if you win each of those events. And it kind of goes into your bank account as a player to kind of situate you for the FedEx Cup playoffs at the end of the year. You're trying to get to that magic number 125 by this past week. If you get to the 125 mark in the world golf rankings, you qualify for the FedEx Cup playoffs. Now, it's been dwindled down. It used to be 4 events. Now it's 3. The FedEx Championship presented by St. Jude, the BMW Championship, and then, of course, the Tour Championship at East Lake down in Atlanta. And so, depending on how many points you acquire in a given calendar year, puts you in a seeding to get you ready for the FedEx Cup. And so there's only 125 players, and then there's a cut each subsequent week to dwindle it down to the final top 30 players heading into the Tour Championship. And kind of a unique format in the Tour Championship in that the number 1 overall seed heading into that tournament will start the tournament off at 10 under par, giving them a huge advantage of those guys at 25 to 30 who start the tournament off at even par. They literally start the tournament 10 shots better than everybody else. And you might be wondering, hey, Hunter, that's not fair. Well, they've acquired that over the course of the year and what they've done at the FedEx Cup playoffs entirely as well. And so they've earned the right to kind of get a jump start on everybody else so that you don't get someone who maybe just caught fire at the end of the year. They want to try to give credit to the guys that have played well throughout the course of the golf calendar year. And obviously, up until the Live came around, winning the Tour Championship and the FedEx Cup playoffs was a huge money incentive. The winner right now gets $18 million to win the FedEx Cup Championship. Now, that is all thrown kind of into a frenzy now that we see the kind of money that guys are earning in just signing bonuses over in the Live Golf Tour. To put things into perspective, Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, and Phil Mickelson all signing bonuses of over $100 million to leave the PGA Tour and join the LIV Tour. That would essentially be just about the equivalent of winning the FedEx Cup 5 times. In Dustin Johnson's case, it's a little bit less than 5 because I think he made about 125 for the jump from the PGA to the LIV. But that is crazy in terms of what they're able to make in such a short amount of time when you consider how much work and how much good golf is needed to win the FedEx Cup Championship one time. It's literally 5 times more significant if you're going to look at it from a money perspective to jump over to the LIV Tour. Now, that's not just in signing bonuses too. If we look at the payouts of a LIV golf tournament, first place wins $4 million. Second, $2.125 million. Third place, $1.5. Fourth place, $1 million. And fifth place, $975,000. Now, to put that all into perspective, the winner on the PGA Tour of any golf event wins somewhere in the general vicinity of $1 million. If you get in the top 10, I think you're making about $500,000. So if you look at these numbers compared to what the PGA Tour is offering players for the same placement in tournaments, it's almost 4 times the amount of money than what the PGA Tour is willing to pay their guys. And so some would say, yeah, it's controversial with who's backing the LIV Tour. There's not as many guys. The world golf rankings is all thrown out of sorts now with guys over on the LIV Tour, which I would agree with. The Tour Championship and thus the FedEx Cup is a little bit more vulnerable now given how many guys have jumped over to the LIV Tour. However, man, it's a completely different landscape now with what guys are actually making over at the LIV, playing a fraction of the amount of times as the guys over in the PGA Tour. For those listening at home, PGA Tour events happen every single weekend. LIV Golf Tour events happen once, usually every month. And so guys are able to spend more time with their family, hang out. Let's just call a spade a spade. They're really not playing as much golf. And it's really thrown the world of golf for a loop. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the Tour Championship with a lot of those guys not in the field. But all that said and done, I'm looking forward to a great FedEx Cup, a great week of golf here in Tulsa. I'll keep you guys posted, and we will see you guys next time on Shakas and Swings. For everyone with ESPN Honolulu, I'm Hunter Hughes, and I'll see you next time. Aloha.